Hi everyone, welcome back. In the previous video I explained Talk Mouse, and in this video I'm gonna talk about the reward system for the quest editor. So this system will allow you to create easy tasks that let the player choose between different rewards. So for example, if you want to give the player the option to choose between 3 items, or between item and spell, or between gold and experience, you can do it using this system. So there are 3 blueprints that are important for the system. The first one is the tab that shows in the UI for the game all the rewards. I'm gonna show it. That is already included in the plugin as an example. I already copied in this project this UI. You can find it in the plugin example UIs. And it looks like this. It's very simple, and it's gonna generate all the slots in this box for each of the rewards that are active at the time. So functionality wise, you really don't have to change this. It's gonna generate all the slots. The only thing you need to be aware of is that if you install the quest manager differently and haven't put it in the player state, you will have to override this function. If you go to override get quest manager reference, you will have to provide the path to the manager, but if you tell it normally, you will not have to do it, and this will work directly as it is. And for this tutorial we're gonna use it just like that. And the second widget that is important is gonna be each of the slots that represent each of the rewards. So for that we're gonna need to create some widgets. So I'm gonna go to quest, task, I'm gonna create a new folder here, reward tasks, and inside here we're gonna need the task itself for the quest editor and the UI that I mentioned. So I'm gonna create first the UI. I'm gonna go to blueprints, and if I type reward, you will see this one, base quest reward slot, and this is gonna be the parent for all these the widgets. So the tab can generate them. So for the item, I'm just gonna say reward underscore item. In this tutorial we're gonna create a reward that lets you choose an item. If you remember from the tutorial 5, we had already the item structure, so we're gonna use that. And talking about it, I'm gonna need a few things from it. So if I search for task, item task, if you remember, we created all these widgets, and in particular I'm interested in the content. So this is how the content looked. I'm gonna copy it, and I'm gonna copy this one in the reward for the item. So the tab will create this UI, and if you remember, this one had an update that it looks like that, and I'm gonna copy it. So for this tutorial it's just gonna be very simple. This is the reward UI. I'm not gonna use that, and we're gonna need to update the reward somehow, and for that we have this function. So we're gonna override it. I'm gonna paste the thing that all the logic from the content item, and it's gonna work because we have all the same text, all the image name, etc. All the UI is the same for us. The only thing I'm gonna need is to create this variable item, and of course we have to remember that when we create the task in the custom payload data, we're gonna pass the item. So that's something that we need to remember. And this is just gonna update how the UI looks, but we're gonna need also a new function that somehow tell the system that this reward was selected by the player. So for that we're gonna grab this vertical box with a button. So if you click this button, you're gonna choose the reward. I'm gonna call it reward and on click I'm gonna call a function that is in these widgets, that is select slot reward. So this is gonna be the handle for the rewards, and this should work in the UI. Of course, you can do different widgets. You can update all the UI there, and it will depend on you how you will create these widgets. For now, for this tutorial, it's gonna be just that simple. And now, if I go back to task, the reward task, we are missing the task itself that you can place in the editor, and it will have or contain all the logic for the reward selection. So for that, we're gonna go to quest category, and you can see there is this object npc reward quest task. This is just like a quest task. It's the same object, but it has a little bit more functionality, so you will be able to easily create the task. So I'm gonna call this task underscore reward item, like that. And if you open it, it looks like a normal task, but if you go to override functions, you will see you have a little more options. So there are two in particular that are very important. The other ones you usually will not have to worry about. So the first one is gonna be on reward selected, and we're gonna override it, and it looks like that. You can use all the information for the task in here, and in this function you will have to create the logic for giving the reward to the player. So for example, if it's an item, you will have to get the item manager or things like that, and add the item to the player inventory. We don't have an item system, so I'm gonna just print here, and because we are passing, or we decided to pass in the custom payload the item, just to be consistent with the task in the 5th tutorial, I'm gonna get the custom payload by index, and the index 0 is gonna be an item. So if I convert the payload to a struct, I'm gonna need an item variable. I'm gonna go and search it. This is the structure. I'm gonna connect it like that, and this is going to be the item. So I'm gonna break, and I'm gonna print just some text, player choose, and the name of the item. So this is gonna be our give reward logic. You will have to send a true value if for some reason, for example, if the player has the inventory full and you cannot give him the item, you should return a false value, and this will continue to work, and it will expect the player to pick another reward, or it will give the tab for choosing rewards again. So you don't really have to worry about it. For us now, we're just gonna send the true value. It's just assuming that it's always gonna give the reward. So this is the first function, and we're gonna have to override another one, and that is the task reward slot. So this is saying, okay, this widget is the one that you have to create, and now we have already created it, the reward item. So that's the one we're gonna use, and that's basically it. You don't have to override any other function. Of course, this task has the functionality already written. So for us to be able to use it, the only thing we have to do is add it to a data table. So if you go to data tables and go to quests, Now to task, the task data tables, we have the jump one and the print item, and I'm gonna duplicate the print item one. I'm gonna say this is choose item, and if you remember, I say that all these little things like selectors, content, title, etc. Were very reusable and very modular, and that's true, and we're gonna show it here because we are sure gonna use all the same ones. So for the task name, I should change it. You can change the color if you want to show something different, but when I use the same title, the same content, and of course the task, we're gonna have to use the one, the reward one. So task reward item, and we haven't used any of the payload in this example in the tutorial 5, and we use a custom payload selector. But it's important to mention that this reward task will require an NPC because the reward is given by an NPC, it should not given to you in anywhere, in any place. So there is a thing that you always have to do and use this, that is that you have to use the string A as an NPC selector, and you will have to set the NPC. So for this task you will have to always use this, and that's gonna be it. And now I'm gonna close it and I'm gonna go to the editor. So you go to editor, utility, widget, quest editor. I have the print item quest that we have created in the tutorial 5. I'm gonna create a new one. I'm gonna call this choose items. I'm gonna save it right away in the quest. Should there? Yes. Choose items. So that's gonna be, and I'm gonna say example NPCs. I'm gonna give the quest to Alf. Hello Alf. Hi, I will let you choose an item. So it's gonna be a very simple quest, and I'm gonna add some tasks. So for the task, this is the data table tasks, and we have the choose item task here. So you can see it gives an NPC. It's gonna be Alf. This is the NPC that we have that we want to give us the reward. The item is gonna be dagger. I'm just gonna type something. I'm gonna put some image just like that, and I'm gonna copy it. It's a little bit bright, the color that we use. If I select all of them and press B, it's gonna connect them like that. And I'm gonna change this is gonna to be stuff, and this is going to be the bow, and I'm gonna change the icons like that, and this one. So now we have a quest that lets you choose between different rewards. So I'm gonna save it again. I'm gonna add it to NPCs, and I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna save, and I'm gonna hit play. And now if we go to Alf, you can see the text for the quest is hello Alf. If you click it, you will see all the rewards that you can choose. If you move away and close it, and you go to the NPC again, because you haven't selected the reward, you will still be able to see them. This will happen if you can give the item to, but in this case, in the task, we always return true, so that will not happen. And if I select one of these, it's gonna print the name of the item. So I'm gonna go and select stuff, and you can see the player choose stuff, and we completed the quest. So that's it for this video. I hope it's useful. Thanks for watching. Bye.